नाज़रीन सामीन अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं हूँ रहमत एम्पावरमेंट वाला, हाज़िर हूँ एम्पावरिंग माइंड्स के एक और एम्पावरिंग सेशन के साथ। मुझे उम्मीद है आप खैरियत से होंगे। आप मुझे देख रहे हैं मेरे फेसबुक, यूट्यूब, एक्स और लिंक्डइन रहमत एम्पावरमेंट वाला पर। तो आज के जो सेशन के जो हमारे मेहमान हैं उनका नाम है सकलैन शाह साहब, और बेसिकली ये यूके लंदन में होते हैं लेकिन आजकल लाहौर में हैं। और आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू हिम कि इन्होंने अपना वक्त दिया, और आई एम प्रिविलेज्ड, फीलिंग प्रिविलेज्ड टू इंटरव्यू हिम। ही इज़ फाउंडर ऑफ grebian.com, और भी ये बहुत कमाल के काम कर चुके हैं और करते हैं। तो इनके बारे में जानेंगे, इनकी लाइफ जर्नी और इनकी हॉबीज़ और इनकी लाइफ के बारे में मज़ीद जानेंगे। तो गुफ्तगू का आगाज़ करते हैं। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सकलैन शाह साहब।
Ji walaikum salam. It's very nice to be on your show, and I hope it's valuable.
इंशाल्लाह इंशाल्लाह। सबसे पहले तो कैसे हैं आप?
जी ठीक ठाक अल्लाह का शुक्र है गर्मी बहुत है यहाँ पे तो
जी, जी।
sorry don't mind the sweat I'm not used to it हालांकि एसी भी चल रहा है but there we go.
आई होप कि आपको डिहाइड्रेशन ना हो जाए व्हाइल स्वेटिंग।
I'm keeping up with the water quantity and everything.
वंडरफुल, वंडरफul. So, Saklain Shah Sahab, to start this interview, I would like to, know more about you, and I'm sure my audience would love to know more about you. So, your brief introduction to start this conversation.
So I'm going to try and keep it short. I basically hold on. That's very irritating at the wrong time. Anyway, sorry about that. So I started my career, or my education began with robotics engineering. But at the same time, what was happening politically, I was not aware at the time what politically was going around us. But 7/7 bombings basically occurred in London, और वो एक period था September 11th से लेके 7/7 bombings तक, where a kind of a mindset was being created. Muslims were being asked a lot of questions. And I realized, being on campus and various other places, that either people who were representing us, this is really, really annoying. Let me just shut this. Just 1 second, please.
Sure, sir, sure.
I really apologize for that.
No issues.
I'm back. So, yeah. So basically, this was a time period when a lot of us did not know what was going on. We had no idea how to respond to those things. People who were representing us were not really resonating with us at the time. And slowly, we had political awareness because we had questions. So a lot of the Muslim community, whether they were from any walk of life, basically tried to tackle with it in the best of with the best of their ability. And I guess that's when I joined the Labour Party. Well, in a way, I went to a few protests and things, and I realized that I can make a difference, like a lot of other people did, and we had to play a part within this situation. And that's how my career actually changed. And after I finished engineering, what I had realized that rather than being an engineer, I was more suited to becoming a strategist. After completing my engineering, I was working at one of the organizations which is very large. I think most of the people must have heard of it. It was called IBM. And I moved to the department of strategy by almost begging my line manager, who said I was not qualified. So they gave me a 6-week trial period. After that, I never looked back. So somehow, somewhere along the line, that's how I got into strategy. And it was actually very late in my life that I realized that was because of the political activity I was doing. And I didn't even know what I was doing or it can be a profession or some people would pay for it. That's how I ended up there. Sometimes this is what happens. So that's the basic gist of it. So I would split it into three parts. If I was to give an explanation, I would say that uh, I'm a qualified engineer, so I think like an engineer in terms of how I think, very mathematical. But as a profession, I've always worked as a strategist, both political and corporate. And above all, I believe that somewhere along the line, I realized that I'm basically Muslim, and being a Muslim is above all my identities. I would not say I'm an extremist, but I feel that I have a responsibility, like all Muslims do, in terms of how we carry ourselves. We might not be very religious, but how we carry ourselves, how we represent ourselves, how we speak, how we converse, how we conduct ourselves. We're always in the spotlight. And when we go wrong, that's what's pointed out both by our community as well as non-Muslims. So that's my main personality. So that's where I would go. I hope that
Okay.
was.
That definitely sums up your personality and your introduction very well. Thank you so much for this, Saklain Shah sahab. And I'm seeing that you're a founder of Graybean.com. So would you tell us something about this?
Yeah, so Grabian is a platform, it's a conception which we had. Like I said, I've worked in strategy. So just at the COVID time, I decided to go back to university. I went back to Imperial College London, and I basically enrolled myself into um, an executive MBA to begin with. And over there, the basic idea was that uh, I should combine what I have picked up politically, what I have picked up in corporate, with technology, and so because that was my basic educational background. Uh, so this basically ended up being one of the projects which Imperial is very kind enough to be helping us with it, and they're endorsing in regards to that. So the idea of Grabian is pretty simple. It's basically going to be a platform. It's still in conception pilot stages. It's basically going to be a platform where uh, AI is going to generate what is happening in regards to public opinion, fake news, also different perspectives on news. As you see on the internet, what we see is that these days a lot of claims are made, a lot of lobbying is conducted. So what the idea of Grabian is to bring all that information together at some stage. Say, for example, we're conversing about, let's give a Pakistan की एक example देते हैं बेनज़ीर के assassination को सब लोग जानते हैं कि वो हुआ था. Now there are various theories कि बेनज़ीर को किसने assassinate किया. कोई कहता है कि it was the establishment. Some people say it was Zardari. Some people say it was Musharraf. Some people say it was the Taliban. Some people say it was whoever, right? लेकिन official narrative जो है, that is that nobody actually knows. लेकिन अब हर बंदा यहाँ पे actually nobody knows. What we can work out is a probability. But every news site you go to, every academic place you go to, उसके around conspiracy theories पड़ी हुई हैं. So why not bring all those conspiracy theories together and basically figure out in terms of mathematical reasoning कि क्या percentage के chances क्या हैं, while keeping an answer that we don't know what actually happened. This is the official narrative, and these are probable things which other people have been saying. So that's the gist of it. So with everything, we can do that. We can do that with Palestine, Israel. We can do that with Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, all these issues. So that's the gist of it. It's a try, and we want to see if it succeeds.
Okay. So, do you think it would create more clarity in public, or it would create a bit more confusion? Like you are giving a narrative that this is the public narrative and this is the official narrative, and then it would more clearer or more confusion. Like,
I think it can reduce pointless arguments.
oh,
स्पेशली अगर हम एक चीज़ को देखते हैं अक्सर औकात हमें पाकिस्तानी पॉलिटिक्स में भी ये देखने को मिलता है कि फलाना बंदा चोर है और फलाना बंदा चोर है उस बंदे ने ये किया और वो बंदा ये करता है इफ एंड वी फॉरगेट कि ये चीज़ें इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है कि आपका ओपिनियन क्या है। आपको ये देखना चाहिए इस सारे किस्से में ये जो बेनज़ीर वले पे ही रहते हैं सो एक्सप्लेनेशन वुड बी ईजियर बेनज़ीर के मरने से द रियलिटी इज बेनज़ीर डाइड दैट्स पॉइंट नंबर वन दैट्स अ फैक्ट अब वो किस तरह मरी how she died is very, very important. But at the same time, what is more important is to see how that affected us, how that affected the country, what was the outturn of that, what kind of problems it brought to us. आप सबको एक्नॉलेज करें इस चीज़ के अंदर देखें जब ऑफिशियल नैरेटिव में ही साबित नहीं हो सका कि जरदारी ने किया या मुशर्रफ ने किया या एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ने किया या तालिबान ने किया तो सिटिंग इन अ न्यूज़ रूम और इन अ लॉबी हम सारा दिन भी उस पर बात करें हफ्ता भी करें तो कुछ नहीं होएगा देयर विल बी नो रिजल्ट राइट जो पीपल्स पार्टी के सपोर्टर्स हैं वो कुछ और बोलेंगे जो एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के हम कुछ और बोलेंगे सो इट्स टू एक्नॉलेज ऑल ऑफ देम कि देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट you might all be right in your own opinion we can't change that opinion but there's a difference between an opinion and the fact is nobody knows how she died that's a fact and be okay with that right if the public knew you will know at some stage yes you can go and be suggestive you can be speculative but concentrate rather on these things concentrate on the fact that she's dead how it affected you how it affected the country how it affected the society how it affected us internationally that is what should be concentrated on and that should be the level of concentration and how we can counter that that's a current issue whenever Pakistan is spoken about, uh, people talk about that particular assassination because it's quite recent. Secondly, it brought a huge amount of consequence in terms of image for Pakistan. And a series of events took place after that. I don't need to go into that. That's what needs to be countered. So that's the gist behind it.
okay, wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for this clarity. And you have been working as a strategist, as you have mentioned before. So, what do you love about this job? What do you love about doing this?
I think one of the main things about strategy is you get to. It's one of those rare fields, and I think because I was raw into that, and maybe that is what I conceived engineering to be initially. But later on, I discovered in engineering, some manager is going to come and tell you what to do when you have limited scope in terms of figuring out what you unless you're an entrepreneur, which I was not at that stage. I think in terms of strategy, the best thing is basically that you're left with a blind spot in terms of the corporate or the political person who's running the campaign. And they want you to connect or deliver a certain message to the masses and you have a two-way thing going on where you've got the mass population and you're trying to deliver a corporate message which can be very superficial at times but then a political one and it's interesting how you can get into them in terms of profiling how you attract them how they resonate finding those places how, looking at different landscapes, even like online, if you look at the landscapes where they go, how they spend different times on different platforms. and it's almost like a sensorium. It's where you're trying to gauge into what's happening in society at very different levels. And I think that's the biggest thing in strategy of any kind. It gives you a 360 degrees perspective in terms of what's happening in your environment. And that's very intriguing for me. That's what I've.
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. Sir, any success story or a story in this journey you would like to share with us that you enjoyed the most?
Well, initially, like I said, I qualified as an engineer, and how I basically got into that. So, in my terms, I'm one of those people uh, जो सोचते नहीं है ना करने से पहले, like they just like want to do something and then they figure out कि ये कैसे होगा, और
Okay,
बस ये करना है किसी तरीके से, somehow you have to do it. And I think I think people might find that to be very easy, but and think that I'm just like not revealed. It's a lot of hard work. I won't lie about that. I won't even say that. But I think the thing is, you must love what you're doing. You should be involved in it. uh, there should be something more than money motivated.
okay,
If it's just money, uh, and money is not secondary, then you're not going to be passionate. Money is not something which वो ज़रूरतें पूरी कर सकती है, आपको पैशन के अंदर आपका बेस्ट नहीं लेके आ सकती. So if you feel strongly and passionate about a subject or a profession, you should not think how you're going to get into that. You should look for the ways in terms of how you're going to conduct it, and it will occur. All you have to do, जिस तरह मैंने बोला, मैं मैथमेटिकल तरीके से सोचता हूँ. So this is actually how I do it. This is where I want to be. And once you've worked that out, minus that, very simple subtraction from where you are, that would basically give you what you need to do to basically get to that position. And that answer, that resultant, that denominator is more than enough to give you a true picture. अगर आप अपने आप से झूठ नहीं बोल रहे, क्या ये मैं कर सकता हूँ या मैं ये नहीं कर सकता, is this feasible, और किस तरीके से ये possible. So that's my
okay.
gist in that.
सर इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग इस बात पे बिलीव रखते हैं कि मनी इज़ द बिगेस्ट मोटिवेशन टू डू एनीथिंग, एंड यू आर सेइंग दैट मनी इज द सेकेंडरी थिंग.
There's a reason behind that. आप पैसों के पीछे जितना भी भागेंगे ना, वहाँ पे आप कनेक्शन लूज कर देंगे. सबसे पहले तो एथिक्स के साथ, इस सेंस के अंदर कि आप अपने ना काम की रिस्पेक्ट करेंगे, फिर ना आप रिस्पेक्ट करेंगे अपने टाइम की. And you will see that in people. Some people will be running after money, and they would try and make it in any way possible. उसके अंदर होता क्या है, ना पैसे बनते हैं in the long run, और ना उनका काम निकल के उस तरीके से सामने आता है. And that in itself, how are you going to develop the talent of making money? Is that a profession? How are you going to make yourself better at making money? Is that possible? After a while, if that is your main denominator, how are you going to harness your skills? It makes no sense if you think about it. It drives you, सबसे purest sense के अंदर जो पैसे बना रहा है, उसको तो फिर बिल्कुल ruthless होना पड़ेगा. आप बाकी प्रोफेशंस के हिसाब से देखें, a good banker would want to learn strategy. A good banker, for example, हालांकि पैसों से वो भी डील कर रहा है, somebody who enjoys the everyday running of a bank or financial market, उसको उसके ins और outs के अंदर इंटरेस्ट होगा, उसको corporate companies पे इंटरेस्ट होगा, उसको a good stock broker would be very interested in how business is conducted, not how money is going to come into his pocket. That is a consequence. If he's good at it, money will flow. Same applies to a doctor. अब अगर डॉक्टर प्योरली मनी को फैक्टर रखे कि दैट इज माय मेन मोटिवेटर, तो व्हाट्स स्टॉपिंग दैट पर्सन फ्रॉम कैरिंग आउट अ बाईपास जब उसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है पैसे देने. So I think there's a very, very fine line which people need to understand. A successful person who's a successful doctor, a successful engineer, a successful entrepreneur, a successful father will never be a successful money maker as a professional. And you can see that around you.
Wonderful, sir. A new perspective you have given me to think about, and I'll definitely think about it.
Well, it's worked for me, I guess. So,
No, definitely look after that. Okay, so Saklain Sahab, you have done political strategies, and you have also done some corporate strategic campaigns also. So, what's the difference between both of the strategy campaigns, and what are the basics to look for?
first of all, इनके अंदर बहुत common चीजें हैं. In terms of how we see, at the end of the day, they're both trying to sell something. In corporate, आप क्या physical product या कोई service हो सकती है. In political side, it's usually a message where again you can feel strongly about it. It can be truthful. In the same way कि corporate के अंदर जो product है वो वाकई useful हो सकता है. So, those are the common denominators. But then there are outright lies and stuff as well. Just for example, smoking की हम industry के अंदर देखें, so even with all those bans and stuff, this is the first thing which comes to mind. Product placement के अंदर, that is the hardest and the most rewarding uh, kind of marketing and strategy which people do actually these days. Very hard to get into as well, and very rewarding in terms of money. But again, something which I've refused in my consultancy over a period of time. I refuse to work for tobacco or alcohol of any kind, even though I'm a smoker myself, which is pathetic, but there we go. But the main difference I would say is not between corporate message or a political message. I think the main difference in this strategy, because you're delivering that to the public, right, in a form of service or anything. I think what resonates with the public is what is that something they're looking for. So it's if the message is superficial or the product is superficial or not is the main difference. Otherwise, जो अच्छा मैसेज है, जो अच्छा प्रोडक्ट है, वो लोग खरीदेंगे भी, वो यूज़ भी करेंगे, उसकी यूटिलिटी है, उसकी चीज़ें हैं, उसका एक फ़ायदा है, एक अच्छी बात लोग सुनेंगे भी, वो देखेंगे भी, they'll apply it as well. So a good strategy in terms of that, if the product is viable, the message is true, whether it's political or corporate, उसके अंदर आपको जगहें देखनी है जहाँ पे वो लोग जो ज़रूरतमंद हैं या जिनको उसकी ज़रूरत है वो नज़र आएगा, and you just place it there, and most it's as simple as that. Problem comes in places जहाँ पे वो what those companies are doing or those politicians are doing are basically running something which is not true. जिस तरह ये बोला जाता है ना, हक को डिफेंस की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. हक बोलता है, अल्लाह ताला भी कहता है हक जो है वो सीना चीर के बाहर निकलता है. इट डज नॉट रिक्वायर डिफेंस. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई वाज इनिशियली वेरी कंफ्यूज कि इस चीज़ के कोई पैसे क्यों देगा. I did not know it was a profession, but it works. It works for corporate. It works for political stuff, and at times there's fishy stuff, and that's where I refuse to get involved personally. But other people would say, yeah, उसके अंदर interesting games such के अंदर भी होती हैं. We can get into that if you like. competitive. I would say compare जो competitors के बीच के अंदर है, because I've run campaigns for global campaigns for MoneyGram International, LG, Microsoft, और बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात मुझे ये लगी कि corporate के अंदर जो competitor है, that is worse than political.
राइट।
पॉलिटिशियंस ज़्यादा corporate के बीच के अंदर एक दूसरे के साथ बहुत petty झगड़े हैं. And you would be surprised at the lengths they would go into cutthroat kind of situations, and it's very subtle, but it affects people just as much. So that's the gist of it.
वेरी सरप्राइजिंग।
Hmm.
तो सकलैन साहब, आपको और मुझे सर रेहान ने कनेक्ट किया और हम अब मैं आपका इंटरव्यू कर रहा हूँ। तो हाउ हैज़ बीन योर एक्सपीरियंस कनेक्टिंग टू सर रेहान? हाउ यू हैव फाउंड हिम?
Well, a few people basically, when I was coming to Pakistan on and off, a few people basically recommended me speaking to him, and I just delivered him a message. And he was very, very responsive, very helpful. He tried to connect me to the local people in those regards. एक और aspect भी है ना कि my granddad basically उनका यहाँ पे एक इदारा है, दारुल सकलैन. He passed away about 2 years ago. It's named after me. That's my first name. And वहाँ पे हमारा स्कूल चलता है और चीज़ें चलती हैं. I could have taken this pilot of Gravy and anywhere else outside of Pakistan. I could have easily conducted it in the United Kingdom or the US. मुझे फंडिंग भी उसके लिए मिल रही थी, हालांकि पाकिस्तान के लिए रिड्यूस फंडिंग है. But I basically thought कि अगर मैं पायलट यहाँ पे रन करता हूँ, it will be an experience. It will help me connect to what my grandfather left. उस स्कूल के अंदर हम देख सकते हैं आगे चीज़ें क्या हो सकती हैं, आगे डेवलपमेंट के सोच के अंदर यहाँ का जो टैलेंट है ग्रेबियन के लिए भी उनको हार्नेस कर सकते हैं. जो मेरी कंसल्टेंसी है उसके अंदर there's a lot of professionals I know, there's a lot of politicians in Pakistan who I know, sorry, in the UK and Europe who we know, और कई तरह की चीज़ें हैं. So what we can basically do is mix a palette of those things. It will give me an experience of being in Pakistan as well and trying to understand कि पाकिस्तानी कल्चर किस तरीके का है, हमारी जो अगली जनरेशन आ रही है, how they think. And जितना मैंने पिछले 3-4 साल के अंदर स्टडी किया पाकिस्तान के इकोसिस्टम को, what I realized वो तो sorry अजान हो रही है, मेरा ख्याल है we should wait for it to
ओके,
finish.
we'll wait for 1-2 minutes. Okay.
Have you ever imagined a school where learning goes beyond textbooks and into the realm of real-world action? Welcome to Rehan School, the world's first AI-enabled school. This isn't your typical school. It's a revolutionary hub of creativity and empowerment. At Rehan School, we're rewriting the rules of education for the post-AI world. No more memorizing facts. It's all about taking action, communicating effectively, and leveraging the power of the internet and AI. Every student at Rehan School is equipped with a laptop, internet, and a mobile phone. They're not just learners, they're active participants in the digital age. Each child is assigned an SDG goal, transforming their last name into a voila. They watch TEDx videos, connect with speakers, and create impactful videos and podcasts using AI tools. But it's not just about academics. At Rehan School, we believe in nurturing not only the mind, but also the soul. Daily yoga and meditation sessions ensure our students find inner peace. The power of networking and the internet pave the way for 7th grade students to make $500 a month. Our goal is to produce phenomenal networkers, speakers, and listeners, the future Greta Thunbergs, Malalas, Muhammad Ali Jinnahs, and Gandhis. Join us in this extraordinary journey. You're invited to witness the magic of Rehan School, become part of our global community, and perhaps be an ambassador of this groundbreaking approach to education. Visit Rehan School today. Have you ever imagined a school where learning goes beyond textbooks and into the realm of real-world action? Welcome to Rehan School, the world's first AI-enabled school. This isn't your typical school. It's a revolutionary hub of creativity and empowerment.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Saklain Shah sahab. I would like you to continue from where you stopped. Your mic is mute.
सॉरी about that. हाँ जी, तो मैं ये बात कर रहा था कि at the end of the day, what I've realized about Pakistan when I was looking at the landscape and everything in terms of that, कि हमारी जो अगली generation है, especially people in their 20s and everything, they seem to be very talented. All of them want to do things. There are some amazing brains out there with big dreams. लेकिन सबसे बड़ी जो प्रॉब्लम मुझे यहाँ पे नज़र आती है, और that is something which is just my opinion, though it's not a fact. From my observation, गुर्बत ना कई तरह की होती है, और पैसों की गुर्बत सबसे आखिर में आती है. उससे पहले आती है शऊर की गुर्बत, उससे पहले आती है डायरेक्शन की गुर्बत, उससे पहले आती है आपके रख रखाव की गुर्बत, उसके रिजल्ट के अंदर पैसों की और रिसोर्सेज की गुर्बत आती है. और फिर व्हाट आई हैव रियलाइज्ड इज कि यहाँ पे ऐसे ऐसे मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर पैदा होने शुरू हो गए हैं. You've got like messiahs in every street and corner who are not making nothing for nobody. उनको बस अच्छी तरह बात करनी आती है, हाथ में उनके कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, एंड दे डोंट रियलाइज वो उन पूरी की पूरी जनरेशन्स का अपने थोड़े से पैसे भरने के लिए, थोड़ी सी फेम के लिए, दे आर डिस्ट्रॉइंग एन एंटायर जनरेशन. अगर आप किसी को एक कोर्स सिखा रहे हो या एक चीज़ बता रहे हो और उसको कोई यूज़ नहीं है, आपने उसे एक लेक्चर दे दिया है, वो आपको 10 साल के बाद गालियाँ ही देगा, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम वो 10 साल के बाद किसी और को ट्रस्ट भी नहीं करेगा. दैट पर्सन, व्हाट यू आर क्रिएटिंग इज अ डबल एज सोर्ड. वो सोचेगा कि जिस तरह मुझे छुरी लगी है यही तरीका है. हम 2 या 3 जनरेशन इस तरह खराब कर चुके हैं, जो कि उसी सिस्टम के अंदर इंग्लैंड जाते हैं, यूएस जाते हैं, वहां पे तो सिस्टम, यहाँ पे तो चलें जी सिस्टम की खराबी है. वाई इज इट सो कि पाकिस्तानियों की, मैं तीसरी जनरेशन हूँ इंग्लैंड के अंदर, हमारी कम्युनिटी के अंदर तो जो तीसरी जनरेशन है उनमें लोग हैं जो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी के हैं, जो कभी पाकिस्तान आए भी नहीं. उनके अंदर क्यों टैक्स चोरी की आदतें हैं, वो क्यों इलीगल काम करते हैं, वो क्यों नहीं एजुकेशन के अंदर जाते, वो क्यों नहीं बाकी अगर आप डेटा उठाएं तो बांग्लादेशीज, इंडियंस, अफगानी हमारे बाद आए, उनकी आप वहाँ पे बोन जनरेशन्स को देखें और परसेंटेजेस देखें, डिग्रीज की, बिजनेसेस की, क्राइम रेशियोज की, वो क्यों हमारे से इतनी ज्यादा कम है? व्हाट हैपेंड? ठीक है, व्हाट हैपेंड इज कि जब आप इस तरह के लोग देखेंगे कि किसी भी तरीके से पैसा बनाना है, पैसे कोई मेन मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर बनाएंगे, उसी चीज को रखेंगे, तो जिस तरह हमने स्टार्ट में कहा था, उसका उसका एक रीजन है, मैं ऐसे सोचता हूँ। उसका रीजन बड़ा सिंपल सा है। आई ग्रू अप इन अ सोसाइटी जो कि मस्जिद के अंदर थी, जो जिसके साथ हम रिलेट करते थे इंग्लैंड में, क्योंकि ये हमारे लोग हैं। क्योंकि स्कूल के अंदर तो हम जब गए और इधर उधर गए तो दैट वाज द मेन स्ट्रीम, वहाँ पे हम एक माइनॉरिटी थे। हम मेजॉरिटी के अंदर जब मिलते थे, दोज वर आवर मॉस्क्स, दोज वर आवर कम्युनिटी सेंटर्स। और वहाँ पे जब हम गुफ्तगू सुनते थे तो वो ज्यादातर पेटी क्राइम के बारे में। I think a lot of people will, I'm not saying, और वहाँ पे कई बड़े decent लोग भी होते थे जो मना करते थे इन चीज़ों को करने के, लेकिन at the end of the day the fact of the matter is that is not just a problem over here, this is a problem with Pakistanis all over. उसकी वजह ही ये है कि we look for messiahs, when we don't get messiahs we get slaughtered, once we get slaughtered we become the slaughterer. हमारे साथ हुआ है तो फिर हम किसी के साथ भी करेंगे। That's the basic issue. I hope that was, I just gave you an opinion. आप म्यूटेड हैं, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही।
अपॉलॉजीज। लेकिन मैं ये जानने से कासिर हूँ कि जैसे आपने कहा कि जो लोग इंग्लैंड से पाकिस्तान नहीं भी आए, जो थर्ड जनरेशन, उनमें भी वो सारी बैड क्वालिटीज़ उसी तरह मौजूद हैं जिस तरह आप कह रहे थे कि पाकिस्तानियों में होती हैं कुछ। सो वाई, मैं ये समझने से कहा, इज देयर जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर?
No, 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 this is not genetic at all. जब आपने सही तरीके से, आप देखें ना, एक एक बात है। अब अगर फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पेरेंट्स की स्टोरी ये है कि किसी तरीके से डंकी लगा के बड़ी मुश्किलात फेस करते हुए आप एक कंट्री में एक अलीगल तरीके से पहुंचे, एक एग्जांपल, आई एम नॉट सेइंग एवरीवन इज लाइक दैट, बट अ गुड नंबर ऑफ पीपल आर लाइक दैट। तो
यस, यस।
आपकी स्टोरी क्या है? आपकी स्टोरी अपने बच्चे को क्या है कि किसी भी तरीके से आपने एक काम करना है, वहाँ बुनियाद ही गलत हो गई। आर यू गेटिंग माई पॉइंट? We have never, nobody has spoken about the impact, and as far as I know, ठीक है, बल्कि ये पहली दफ़ा, मैं भी ये बात पहली दफ़ा ही करने लगा हूँ। समथिंग विच आई हैव थॉट अबाउट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स, कि ये जब फॉर एग्जांपल हमें कोई वेटर नज़र आता है किसी रेस्टोरेंट में जो बेचारा लीगल है, मैं उसे रिपोर्ट नहीं करता। मैं उसे रिपोर्ट इसलिए नहीं करता, मैं सोचता हूँ वो बेचारा किस तरह काम कर रहा होगा, वो किस तरीके से अपने लोगों को पैसे दे रहा होगा। And a majority of Pakistanis would not report that illegal immigrant. ठीक है, majority of them won't. And the people who would basically go there. लेकिन इसका आप greater aspect देखें, वो जनरेशन जो अलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स जिनके पेरेंट्स थे, या वो खुद अलीगल तरीके से एक जगह पे आए, लॉ ब्रेकिंग के साथ तो वो इंट्रोड्यूस हो चुके हैं। जब वो लॉ ब्रेकिंग के साथ इंट्रोड्यूस हो गए तो उन्होंने अपने आप से झूठ बोलने के लिए एक गलत मोरालिटी क्रिएट करनी है। उस गलत मोरालिटी के अंदर ये है कि फिर आप जो मर्जी कर सकते हैं। आप ये तो फिर उसके अंदर आता है कि ये नहीं, सबसे पहली चीज़ आता है हम यहाँ पे आए हैं, हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज कम थे, हम तो इस वजह से आए हैं, ये हमारे मुल्क को लूट के ले गए। ठीक है, बात ठीक है, लेकिन इसका मतलब है अब आप भी लूटेंगे। तो ये वही वाली मेंटालिटी आप देख रहे हैं। इट्स देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ सिमिलैरिटीज फ्रॉम व्हाट आई सेड बिफोर इन
जी।
दिस माइंडसेट एज वेल। अब एक बच्चा ये सुन के बड़ा होता है कि ये हमारा मुल्क नहीं है, ये चोर लोग हैं, ये हमारी कंट्री को करके ये ले गए, इसलिए हम अलीगली यहाँ पे पैसे कमाने आए हैं, एवरीथिंग गोज। तो उनमें से बहुत सारे लोग फिर सोचते हैं कि अगर ये गवर्नमेंट ही हमारी नहीं है, ये कंट्री हमारी नहीं है, इन लोगों को धोखा देना सही है, ये हमारे एंसेस्टर्स को भी ये करके आए थे। They pretend that they are almost given that legitimacy in their heads कि इट्स फाइन टू गो अराउंड एंड डू दैट। जब आप एक जगह की ओनरशिप ही नहीं लेंगे तो आप उसकी रिस्पेक्ट कैसे करेंगे, उसके लॉ के साथ इंटीग्रेट किस तरह होंगे, आप उस कल्चर के अंदर भी किस तरीके से इंटीग्रेट करेंगे? यू डोंट बिलोंग देयर। द आयरनी इज कि जब वो लोग पाकिस्तान आते हैं, दे डोंट बिलोंग हियर आइदर। यहाँ पे भी उनको सेम कंप्लेन्स है। सो
जी,
they've picked up the bad aspects of both of
हाँ,
the cultures. And unfortunately, I'm not saying all. Again, I would be very clear. There are some very decent people. There are some very good success examples. There's Sadiq Khan, Saida Warsi. There's Sarah Francis, who's not a Pakistani but a Muslim lady. Then there are some amazing people out there, जिस तरह businessmen जिन्होंने अपना नाम बनाया, जिस तरह James Khan, and those are very wonderful examples. There are many everyday professionals, lawyers, solicitors, businessmen, researchers, all kinds of people. But then there is a segment of our society जो इन चीजों के अंदर पड़ा हुआ है, and they just can't seem to get out of it. And I think that's the same problem which is persisting here. The galat guidance, the galat motivational speakers who are not full of essence. जब आपने किसी को कोई स्किल ही नहीं सिखाया तो आप उस बेचारे का क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर? आप कोई और जगह से पैसे बना लो।
wonderful. Again, a new perspective to think about for me. Thank you so much for giving me this. Aja, thank you so much for your wonderful time, Saklain Shah Sahab. Lastly, I would love to ask you one of the favorite questions. Uh, any lesson you have learned in your 20s which you want to share with the people who are in their 20s?
Yeah, very very simple advice सबकी लो, लेकिन जो आपका माइंड कह रहा है ना वो करो। बड़ों की बात जरूर सुनो, लेकिन इफ यू थिंक समथिंग इज गोइंग टू वर्क एंड पीपल टेल यू ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, जो कि हर वक्त यहाँ पे सबको कहते हैं, हमारे कल्चर का एक पार्ट है कि ऐसे ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, ये थोड़ी कर सकते हैं, वो नहीं होता, इसी वजह से आप कामयाब होंगे। you'll become a pioneer, and that's what it is. Try it. If it doesn't work, try something else. Something will work. And believe in one thing, पैसों का फिक्र कभी ना करो, वो अल्लाह ने आपको देना है, वो अल्लाह ने वादा किया है, स्पेशली फॉर मुस्लिम्स। जब अल्लाह ने वादा कर लिया, हमें यकीन होना चाहिए। आप दूसरे काम करो, मेक मनी योर बाय प्रोडक्ट।
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Saklain Shah Sahab, for your valuable time, and you empowered my and my audience mind. I'm very sure about that. Thank you so much, Saklain Shah Sahab, for your valuable time.
No worries. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here. I wish it would have gone smoother, but I'm still trying to get used to this environment, and people still keep calling me thinking I'm in a different place. In fact, I did not realize, so I apologize. कि जिस तरह बीच में calls आई, I wish it was better planned, but I hope it works.
No problem, Saklain Shah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Saklain Shah.
Thank you very much. Take care.
सो लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, आई होप कि आपने सेशन को एंजॉय किया होगा और बहुत कुछ नई चीज़ें आपने लर्न की होंगी, नए पर्सपेक्टिव से आपने सोचना शुरू किया होगा सकलैन शाह साहब की बातें सुनकर। और आप मुझे देख रहे थे मेरे फेसबुक, यूट्यूब, एक्स और लिंक्डइन रहमत एम्पावरमेंट वाला पर। कीप वॉचिंग एम्पावरिंग माइंड टू एम्पावर योर माइंड। आई विल सी यू नेक्स्ट टाइम विद नेक्स्ट गेस्ट। कीप डूइंग अमेजिंग थिंग्स। अल्लाह हाफिज़।